adventure calls to even the smallest of folk. Bilbo Baggins is a quiet, respectable hobbit who enjoys the comforts of home. But when the wandering wizard Gandalf knocks on his door, he is swept into a grand adventure beyond his wildest dreams. 13 dwarves, led by the legendary Thorin Oakenshield, seek to reclaim their long-lost homeland from the fearsome dragon Smaug.
Welcome back, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
I got scared. I dropped my hot pocket.
I'm drinking rum.
It's Rum and Nerdy.
I'm drinking rum.
The time has come.
I'm drinking rum.
So grab a glass, some ice, your bottle, 'cause we're about to drink some rum.
Kicking like I usually do, drinking.
I'm drinking rum.
Here's Greg and Garrick.
Hey everybody, welcome to Rum and Nerdy. I'm Greg.
And I'm Garrick.
And holy shit, we're in New Zealand at the Hobbiton Movie Set with somebody I met back in 2013. Welcome, Russell, to the Rum and Nerdy podcast.
Yeah, great to be hosting you here in New Zealand and at Hobbiton. It's good to return the favour.
I tell you, so I think I've mentioned this story on the podcast before, but I had the opportunity when I was working on the Harry Potter Gringotts Bank attraction. We were in LA working with a gentle giant who at the time I didn't realize had partnered with Weta, and they had invited the art director or the creative director for the attraction and I down to San Diego. And we had gone down and we'd spent the day around the convention, and we'd taken a break in the afternoon, and I'd mentioned, like, yeah, the one thing I need to do is I need to go see Weta. I'm such a huge fan. And the guy kind of chuckled and was like, you're kidding, right? Because you're in Weta's booth. We just are on the opposite side. And we walked out, and my buddy Eric and I were waiting in line, and just as we were waiting for our turn, I bought a book to have signed because they had 4 concept artists doing signing, and they heard us talking about Harry Potter, and those guys were like, wait, you work on Harry Potter? And like, well, no, not the movies. We were working on the attraction. And they go, holy shit, and really started talking us up, and they were doing these caricatures, and they look at me and go, have you met Russell? And they called you over, and I remember seeing a light in your eye. And I just briefly mentioned earlier, there was this light in your eye. You were so excited. This was fairly new, like in 2013.
It would have been pretty well. The Green Dragon we opened in 2012. So, yeah. and sort of through 11 and 12, the set went from being white facades and the remnants of a movie to had been completely rebuilt.
Yeah.
For the filming of The Hobbit. And then I think we got it sort of the joint venture with Peter started in 2011, built the Green Dragon, which we're going to go. You haven't been there yet.
I have not.
You've got to go and taste a beer over there shortly, our own unique beers, in 2012. And it was just started to ramp up, and we were building it permanently and really could see the potential of this place and just had that opportunity. And I think it was about then we signed the IP agreement that that gave us long-term security in 2013 as well. So
yeah.
It was a very exciting time for us because I'm not saying I had totally this vision. It evolves and to what it's turned into today, but I saw some tremendous potential, probably not this amount, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that light that I saw was exactly that. You knew what you had, but you were curious because you didn't, like, this isn't your career. This wasn't what you did. This became an opportunity. And I remember, like, you had questions. You were like, okay, we want to have, like, the beer taps built in the wooden things, but with the hoses off to the refrigerated kegs. And so if you remember, you had asked me, hey, if I change my flight and come to Orlando, can you take me around?
Yep, I do remember that. And look, I have a saying, actually, it's from those times that I say to a lot of staff, and particularly to a lot of other people in the industry, you don't learn by staying at home. If I get stuck at Hobbiton and all I do is Hobbiton, and look, I don't have a problem getting up in the morning to come to work. I've got a dream job of creating this place and building it. But if you just stay here, you're not learning. So you've got I think I've done most attractions in New Zealand and many around the world, and been to the IAPA conference with you guys and other things, and seen the Harry Potter and behind the scenes. And look, it's about all helping each other, and we get better and better. And it sort of, I suppose, inspires the creative juices, if you want to put it that way. And what could we do? But everything we do, it's about being authentic and totally authentic. Like when you come around Hobbiton, how many theme parks, because you're obviously part of the theme park, I think, you see no concrete.
No.
It's grass and paths, etc. So we try to do everything uniquely New Zealand. What I say America does really well is you do the theme parks amazing with mass numbers of people and a lot of concrete. And I've learned a lot, but that's how you move people. But we are authentic to ourselves, and we have a ban on seeing any concrete in here, and we got to move people. And how do we move the numbers of people, at 500,000 people through the site a day? There's a lot of challenges. So the number one thing we have to be is authentic to ourselves and what's created this.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely breathtakingly beautiful, but the way that you batch through in such small groups, it's a very intimate experience.
Yeah, and we didn't look. It's like all things, you live and learn from mistakes and other things. And we used to have, until 2019, tours every 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But we did some modelling, and we were feeling that groups were backing up on each other, and people, it was only a psychological thing, but they were saying we're rushed because the group behind you was right behind you.
Yeah.
So we changed our modelling from 5 minute tours to a tour every 10 minutes. And we thought it was going to halve our numbers as such, or not half, but only 2/3 of it. But because of it's only in the peak summer season, you reduce the numbers in the middle of the day. So our numbers haven't actually changed that much. But what we've done is, again, authenticity, and increase the quality of the tour and the feel and the space. And because a big part of coming to Hobbiton, it's the landscapes, the scenery. Wherever you stand in Hobbiton, it's 360-degree views. I think I've stood on every point and checked. You can't see any man-made structures, 20th century clutter, no buildings, no roads, nothing as far as the eye can see in all directions through this whole. Well, Hobbiton, actually, the site here is actually 50 acres now.
Yeah.
So it's the biggest film set in the world.
That's incredible. And you're so far removed from the roadway. There's no noise.
Correct. There is some noise. I just heard it a moment
ago.
ago.
A little bit.
The birds.
Yeah.
The birds.
The microphones, even in noise canceling, are just not going to catch any of it. So that's good. But when you talk about the tranquility, like, and I'm not sure if you're picking it up for the listeners hearing it, but the birds in the background, and it's so peaceful. But when you have read the books, like I have read The Hobbit 5 times in my lifetimes, and the Lord of the Rings trilogy 4 times, and then I don't even want to talk about the Silmarillion. But when you learn about the hobbits as a race of these beings, and what Tolkien kind of saw in these very peace-loving, comfort in home, comfort in food, in peace, and in nature, and then you're here, and it's not just a set. This is Hobbiton. This is that place. And when I meet people and talk to you, like your home was right there on the hill. You were pointing it out earlier. That's where I grew up. And as far as the eye can see, it's these beautiful green rolling hills.
Correct.
And this is, I think, the emotional feeling
set in
of what it is.
quintessential New Zealand, the rolling green hills and landscapes. And look, they were flying, for the Lord of the Rings. Peter Jackson used 158 different locations throughout New Zealand, flew right through the breadth and length of the country, trying to find these wonderful spots. And obviously, Hobbiton was always going to be a critical location as such. And we were lucky enough. This is what they wanted, and it was our family farm. And then I suppose the rest is history. You had to make the most of the opportunity, and that's taken a lot of work to make sure you understand the IP and understand the property. And I'd like to think we've done it justice.
Absolutely.
You have.
The amount of work that goes in, thankfully you were able to give us a little bit of a behind the scenes tour earlier today. The amount of work that goes into maintaining the level of authenticity, the level of detail, maintaining the immersion, because I can't imagine coming here and seeing it's perfect. There was nothing.
Having been part of some of the biggest organizations in the world that do experiential location-based entertainment, they have nothing on you.
Well, thank you, but we try to be authentic to ourselves and do what we think's right for us in this, and learn from everyone else, but always paddle your own canoe is my philosophy.
Yeah, and it's so God. I mean, I'm an emotional person. I'm going to cry. It's just you've used these words several times today. Authentic, and you say this is your home, and all of the people of New Zealand that we met this week, there is this consistency of pride and balance and humility. And when I see what you've done here and finally come together, I can't say this enough. This is your home, and this is quintessential. This is what Hobbiton was always supposed to be, and you've made this something and shared it with the world. Like you've made your home something that you have shared with the world generously and graciously, and it's not just lip service. I'm breathless. I'm blown away at this place.
The world's allowed us to do it because they want to come and see it. So it's a partnership, isn't it? Like,
it is.
If we're good enough, people want to, because the only way we can develop this place and do what we're doing, where we can host weddings or conference and other events, this latest development, which again will be very authentic, it costs a lot of money, etc. So we need entry fees. We need people to pay our staff wages and do those things. So it's like everything. It's about a relationship and developing it authentically, and if you're good enough, you will then carry on, and you're on a journey, and it's a journey that should be beyond me.
Well, you're definitely holding up your end of the bargain.
Yes. And again, currently there's some construction here, and is it an expansion? Can you what is it?
Yeah, the Hobbit hole down just sort of behind where we're sitting has always been the Hobbit hole, and it's where we hosted a lot of corporate events and weddings as such. We probably have 100 weddings here. We don't really advertise for them, but what we're doing is, that was a Hobbit hole that was, the land formation here was a swamp where that was built, and it had collapsed a bit. So I thought, rather than just rebuild it the same and as it was, we're building a bunker in behind it so we can rebuild it. So it's a repairs, maintenance, but with it all, let's build a bunker, and then we can have a lot of infrastructure in behind, and seats, and
catering kitchen,
and a catering kitchen, so that we can wheel out the door 10 metres away from where the wedding is. No one will know, and it's a standard. It's going to be a Hobbit hole like all these other ones. And we have to finish it quite quickly, because in 3 weeks we have a wedding there. So, and it will be finished it will be finishing the same as this, looking like this in 3 weeks. And hopefully we're going to have a wonderful time with the first bride and groom it's going to look identical once, the digger pulls out and the grass is there. No one will know any different to what it was in the movies or what it was before we did the repairs or the reconstruction as such. It'll look exactly the same. People won't know about the secret door that's giving us access to some infrastructure that you need behind the scenes.
Now, when did these Hobbit holes come online?
So this just in front of us is Bagshot Row, and it was always, Bagshot Row was our missing element, if you like. We had tours of Hobbiton, we got 44 Hobbit holes, but just from gut feeling, you knew there was something missing, a missing element. Yeah. And we'd built the Green Dragon in 2012, and we built offices and facilities and the roads and buses and all the systems, but we were always missing the inside Hobbit hole, and it was something that we thought we had to do. And then we were starting to think about it when COVID hit, and it put the skids under everything, and we had to survive that period. But it was the first thing out of COVID, and during COVID we did a lot of planning for this, and so it was open in December 23, but it took us about 9 months to take the hill away.
That's
the bunker
after design from beginning of construction.
From beginning of construction was about 9 months, but there was probably 2 years of work. I think the layout of the rooms got up to option 29 over to a year and a half probably to finally get it. And we first did the sketches and had the dreams of this. I got John Howe, who was one of the concept artists. He came through in 2014. So he sat on the hill, and he drew the concept art of this way back in 2014. So that had been in the back of my mind since when John Howe was here in 214. It was probably before that I had it on a list a couple of years earlier than that.
Yeah.
So it was a great feeling to finally get it done, and that's what I called the missing element that we've now nailed, if you like.
It was the absolute perfect end to the tour, because as you're having just experienced this, you walk through all, outside through the entire set, and you finally, this is the kind of the big grand finale of it.
Well, it's not the total finale. We're going to get you over to the Green Dragon yet and get you a beer for dinner yet. We haven't given you some Hobbit food yet.
Well, I'm going to pull this up, and we'll share this on our social media. So for the listeners, you'll be able to see this, and we'll do kind of a side-by-side, or because the aspect ratio and a top and bottom view. Mm-hmm. But earlier, in the earlier tour, you had taken us through your design studio and your back house maintenance and things like that. And one of the things that you had was the model, the artist model. And so I had taken a picture, and when we came down here, I held this picture up to these facades.
I've never actually done that. You're one step ahead of me.
And,
hopefully it's not too different.
No, it's so dramatically correct. When you look at that, like if there's some differences, it's like this tree might not be exactly that tree, but it's a real tree.
This bush grew a little more than we were planning.
Yeah, but it's you look at it down to the signs on the doors and the set dressing almost even, and it's just so thorough and beautiful.
And the inside, the inside is completely filled with props. All of the rooms are furnished. We
encourage people to lie on the beds, take photos, enjoy it as if the hobbits have just popped out.
Yeah, and you can, one or two things are glued down, but for the most part, I mean, it is enjoy the space. Now, did you fabricate a lot of those items here on site, or was that done?
There's a whole mixture. As a big team of people. Look, this project was led by Brian Massey, who's built a lot of things, or led a lot of the projects here. He was an art director on the Hobbit, and obviously the Greens Master in the Lord of the Rings. And he had a team of construction builders build this. He had another team working in some workshops we'd secured in Matamata, where they built the inside Hobbit hole, and then there was a whole team down in Wellington. Under Ra Vincent's tutelage and Catherine Lim, and they then secured with second-hand shops made stuff, whole combinations. You use every tool in your toolbox to try and find things and replicate, and we obviously got some props from the movies, etc. So all of the above there's no simple answer to build something like this.
Yeah, because I mean, the facades are one thing, but there is so much detail, so much packed into those two Hobbit holes. It's insane.
And there's so many like physical spaces. Number 3 Bagshot Row. You're standing there, and that's the last scene of the last Lord of the Rings movie. It happened right there. Over on the other side, there's the crossroad, and it's where the kids chase Gandalf in the wagon, in a couple of the...
and the fireworks go off in the back of the cart.
Yeah. Yep. Up at the top of the hill in Bag End, it's the bench, and there's a pipe sitting there on the bench. Correct. There's the no admittance sign, and it's not a recreation of where that was filmed. That's where it was filmed. Like that bench, that door.
Correct. This is the props. This is the place where it's filmed.
Yeah.
Correct.
And as super fans and just crazy fanatics for this, and you take a picture, and I'm going to have this photo album and go home and watch this movie and flip back and forth in this photo album and know that I've lived this, and it's just fantastic.
We better get you the Green Dragon and have one of our unique beers here.
Well, let's
actually
do it.
bought some at the shop, haven't you?
So for the listeners, it's just going to be like, hey, we'll be back in like 3.5 seconds. But for us, we're going to walk across property, and we'll be back with you in just a few minutes with a beer.
You can keep your fancy ales, you can drink them by the flagon, and the only brew for the brave and true comes from the Green Dragon.
Welcome back. So we're in the Green Dragon now, sitting in nice armchairs in front of the fireplace. The sun has set. We just got back from a lantern walkabout.
Yep,
And
a nice short one, but hopefully...
How long have you been doing the lantern walkabouts?
Probably 10 years, I would
Really?
say. Yeah. So quite a while, and it's more about the evening banquet, which we normally do inside the Green Dragon, which is our most popular signature tour, really, or premium tour. That is a last tour of the day, and then it's normally 48 people sitting here for 3 big banquet tables. A bit like we got the idea and the take from the wolf food fight in the movie in Bagshot, and so it's a big banquet feast like they would have done in those days, and then people go out and do a lantern tour. But because the construction's going on at the moment, we normally take the lantern tour and take about a quarter of an hour and hop on where we started, but we'll circle back tonight.
Okay.
It's very, very popular, the banquet feast followed by the lantern tour.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine was here, I think 2 or 3 months ago, and he was lucky enough to be able to come and experience the banquet.
It's the one thing you have to definitely pre-book for.
Yeah,
you won't get in. Yeah, so
about how far out do you usually?
6 months often now.
6 months.
Yeah,
Whoa.
or 3 or 4 months anyway. Yeah, but no, quite a while.
Wow. And so it's interesting because now at this point it's what 8:30, 9 o'clock at night or something. I think it's close to 9 o'clock. And this feels like it might be later than you typically operate, or does it depend?
No, not really. Like most nights, the lanterns tour will be about now. In summertime, it'll be 10, 11 o'clock.
Yeah, because
the Green Dragon, because it's a busy place, and Hobbiton generally, we're probably doing, I won't exactly quote on it, but we're probably doing 1,000 meals a day here, with 30-something cooks and chefs here. Yeah. And so the Green Dragon, the bakers will be coming in at 5 or 6 in the morning, and people, in particular in the summer, where you've got functions and weddings and other things going on, that they'll be going till 11 o'clock at night. So by the time the last people leave, it's midnight. So this place is actually open for 19, or someone's working here 19 or 20 hours a day every day.
That's incredible.
How much reset do you do overnight or early in the morning prior to opening?
Like the marquee where we had dinner tonight, they'll be resetting that ready for tomorrow.
Nice.
Tonight. So every night they'll be resetting.
And that's typically that banquet style buffet dinner. That's what that tour normally is.
Sorry, the talk.
The meal.
No, that's just a buffet for a corporate function type thing we did tonight, because the banquet only fits 48 and that's in here. Mm-hmm. That's actually with a fire going and 3 big tables get that. So the evening banquet inside the Green Dragon, we've gone up to the marquee because we had bigger numbers and you can't fit the banquet and all the 80 people in here, so we had to go up to the marquee.
And traditionally you just do the dinner banquet down in here.
The banquet just gets done down here, and it's limited to 48 people, so gotcha. It's our signature style, high end experience.
Carrying on with that, when we had our dinner, you afterwards, you spoke to the group.
Yep.
Very, very good information. A lot of it we had talked about, but it was interesting. Somebody had talked about the give back that this provides to the local community and to New Zealand in general. You had said that it's the largest tourist destination in the country right now. Yep. But I thought it was like outside of, and we don't have to go through the numbers, but the specific thing, I think you had said that on any given day you could spend as much as $20,000 a week
at the local butcher.
Yeah. Which is crazy to me, but it averages out about 10.
I think so. I'd have to check the figures on that. I wouldn't want to be quoted on that.
Sure.
I just saw the invoice, a couple of days ago for last week. It was 20 grand. I went, well, shit. Obviously, there might have been a lot of functions or something on that week, but I think it averages out at least 10, probably more.
Normal operation day, the Green Dragon serves, like, you go through the tour and you can come here and get lunch.
Yeah, so here people might not go to the cafe, just get their ticket and get on tour. So they call the Green Dragon and you can get your pie or muffin or some sort of sandwich and very hearty Hobbit-style food across the bar here. Yeah. There's Afghans, there's scones and traditional food here people can buy with their beer they get in their half hour at the pub. Obviously, there's a lot of groups that are series groups go to the marquee. We went and the marquee's going at night, but then some people get their meal at the Shire's Rest Cafe because they got here half an hour before, actually they've only got 20 minutes, they want to enjoy a walk around the pub and don't have their meal, and they'll go back up to the cafe after their tour and get what they want out of the cafe selection.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of food options here, and I'm guessing here, but we're probably 1,000 meals a day, every day here.
Yeah, easy, yeah.
Easy, I would have thought. Yeah. I've never done those numbers, to be honest. I should have.
Well, in generality, I mean, it's a podcast for nerds. So I don't think anybody's out there going, I really want to know these business analytics, at least not that's listening to us. But it's interesting because just to think about the generality of those metrics and what you're doing in that growth. And, you know, I think it's important it comes down because not just, and we talk about it a lot, that idea of the monetization of your experience is important for the success of your for your venue, but in this particular case, it's also very utilitarian because it's not like there's a Macca's close that you're going to go get.
No, absolutely. So we are unique in the rural setting out here. So as part of what we need is we need to have service clean toilets and a food option, whether it's the cafe or here. Because if you've driven 2 hours from Auckland and you've got a 2-hour drive out, we need to be able to feed us. So the toilets is a first port of call that we've got to have. I think we've got 80-something toilets here.
Mm-hmm. And they're very clean. I
can vouch for that.
It's really important. And that's just business 101. Have you got to have the functionality working right and have the options for people. So, yeah, it's about servicing the people in need and recognising where we live, etc. So, yeah, and we like to think we do the food really, really reasonably. We don't try and...
So we had some options. There was the chicken. I didn't try the chicken. You did.
I did.
There was a shepherd's pie that was phenomenal.
That's a vegan shepherd's pie too, I believe.
I didn't think so.
I didn't check that, but it could well have been. Yeah.
There was like a beef and mushroom pie.
Yep.
And then roast beef.
Correct.
And then mixed vegetables, which I love. I love good mixed vegetables.
We ate like hobbits. It was a giant.
Oh, and potatoes. Because
potatoes.
Potato. You got to have it. Boil them, mash them, mix them in a stew.
And then the food you'll notice most of the food here, not so much cafe, but everything at the Green Dragon and in the Marquee, the food is in keeping with the brand.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And honestly, the last observation that I'd make on it, possibly other than I will loop back around to that amazing dessert
because Greg does like talking about food.
Oh yeah, sometimes we call it rum and foodie. But one thing I would notice, especially in a week like this, where like we're traveling over this particular trip, we were in 4 different hotels over 10 days, and you eat a lot of quick meals, or you eat like these convention foods while you're having these conferences. And legitimately, I felt 100% like I was eating a home-cooked meal.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
And
that's what we want.
When you're on a trip where you've traveled 35 hours door to door on the first day, you don't expect that you're going to have that kind of comfort. So in the middle of a trip like this, to have something that really brings you back home emotionally through that dining experience, I think it's important.
Absolutely.
And I think you've said this a lot throughout the day, either the earlier recordings, what you would, your address to the group tonight, and even the tour when we first got here, authenticity.
Correct.
And like a home run.
Yeah. And let's talk about the Green Dragon for a moment, because like everything else on property, this is incredibly immersive and just overly detailed. Like this place, it looks like you're sitting in the Green Dragon from the movie.
Pub, yeah.
Yeah.
And it is, and there's a lot of thought goes into it. And look, we're actually in the process of just planning a bit of a shush up, or sort of just a clean up of the pub. The lighting's not right. We've learnt more and got better, and so we want to do a little bit of an upgrade to the pub. Let's not change it fundamentally, but it just needs, we've concentrated. We had COVID hit, then we did the Bagshot, and we need to just give this place a little bit of a...
So I think you'll appreciate this. So as a project-based person in entertainment, we've got this mentality. The project takes as long as you have. If you have a year and a half, it's going to be a year and a half project. If you got 6 months, it's a 6-month project. But what you focus on doing is layers. So you do 6 months worth of layers if you have 6 months, and you take that where your first pass is it's 8-bit graphic and then 32-bit and then so what you have here is 1080p, but you're looking for 4K. You want that last pass of high definition.
And I imagine because you have such a great R&D setup in your workshops that when you are creating things or developing things for your for the hobbit holes, and now it's we can adapt that same technology back into.
It's look. I think I talked about it's about the people and having the right people here that are passionate about it, and we're very lucky.
Yeah, it's amazing. I want to take a step way back. I think we covered. Did we cover? I've heard this because I know you covered it in here. The story. Yeah, we did because I don't even remember. Did we cover?
What are you talking about?
The story about the location team or the locations team from the Lord of the Rings, or was that just in the car?
That was probably in my speech.
I know I heard it in there, but I know we did it in the car. We might not have talked about it.
Yeah.
No, I don't think we have. So it's look. They actually, I believe, flew over and saw the lake and the land potential, and then came and knocked on my dad's door when he was watching that rugby game. I suppose the rest is history.
Yeah. Thank goodness it was halftime.
Just until it was halftime, and they didn't leave the gate open so the sheep didn't get mixed up. But and look, that started like a large or a long negotiation process where we had to have lots of meetings amongst ourselves, first and foremost, and getting our head around what would it be like to have a major movie filmed on your place, and no one knew that at the time before Lord of the Rings came along in New Zealand what a major blockbuster movie meant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and it turned New Zealand upside down and of what it did for the country.
What was the biggest challenge with the film production on property?
I don't think. Biggest challenge. Probably there's something more for my father, just working with logistics, because he dealt with them at that time. The film company is like with the army putting the road in and things like that. But
which is a crazy first step.
I think there's probably a little bit of legal and the unknown. That's probably the uncertainty and unknown hasn't been done before. Is the biggest challenge because you don't know what you're dealing with, and there's no one to go to that's been through this before to get advice from. So it's not as if there's been a test case or anything. So probably the unknown was the biggest challenge.
Well, and on the production side, it's that idea of you're literally building a mini city. You show up. It's not like these sets were built in California and shipped here. You said the army came in and built the road, but then you have no electricity. So you're bringing in generators, big generators.
Everything needed, you had to deal with water for sewage, for power, all of it. You had the equipment to build roads to give access. So, it was a big challenge more for the film company because their responsibility where we
that's right.
Leased them. So, but it was an eye-opener to what's involved in making a major movie, and that's part of the things that we sell. We give a guided tour of what's involved in making a major movie. So we're sharing that knowledge and that story, if you like.
Yeah. Did the film company develop anything that you have since adopted? To the way that you operate or changes that you made?
Not develop specifically like that, but there's a multitude, just a massive amount of learnings from the film industry.
Yeah,
we're indebted to them and the great people that work in that industry and some of the skill set that we are able to replicate or tap into the IP, if you want to, for want of a better word. Have helped make it work, but hopefully we've had a lot to offer. It's a two-way street here, We've helped some people in the film industry that have gone back to film industry of how we've done things. So, look, everything's about relationships and two-way streets, and we're so fortunate to have met some wonderful people in the film industry and had some wonderful experiences ourselves, and what's been created out of Hobbiton is. Like myself, I think I've been to China 9 times. I've been to the United States nearly every year. So, look, a lot of those are hard trips, and you don't see a lot, but there's still, you're in Seattle over the weekend. So you go and see the Boeing factory on a Sunday, or you go and do something else. I've been to New York, and we went when I was there on the weekend, because you were stuck in New York on a weekend.
Yeah.
That's really tough.
Yeah.
But you're doing a harbour cruise out to the Statue of Liberty and seeing it. So, look, it's naturally when you're travelling, there's some great bonuses, but it's bloody hard work too. And I had, from a personal point of view, I had a young family, and you're trying to run the business. So you got back as quick, you'd finish a sales week on a Friday night where you left on the Friday night because it's a long haul trip. So you're home on Sunday morning. Yeah. Ready for work on Monday. So
it's definitely, as like here we are, we're like thousands of miles from home, and we're in the middle of it. And there is that sense of, man, we're really kind of spoiled or very lucky to be able to be in these situations. But also at the same time, understand that we're here working. It's not a vacation. We're here working, and you're networking with people, and they're long days, and it's every meal you're sitting with somebody that you're trying to connect with professionally. And we're very lucky to have seen the world, because it's given us an opportunity to connect with people. And for example, I want, and I was going to do this more later in the episode, but I do want to say, I met you in 2013. And like I said earlier, there was a light in your eye, and I'm like, this guy's cool. He's doing something really amazing. And you came out, and then every couple of years we would connect through IAPA or other things where we talk. And, it's like, I know a lot of people. I meet a lot of people constantly, all over the place. But I want to convey to you that, 8 or 9 years ago, I offered you a few hours of hospitality to show you something. And 8 or 9 years later, you have returned that tenfold in your hospitality to us today.
That's the way it should be, and like you gave me insights into Harry Potter and technology and where things are going, not necessarily where we wanted to go, but learning and opportunities, and what I talked about in the speech tonight. The mass numbers and the concrete, we don't want it. We've got to be authentic to ourselves, not to what America's doing or, Harry Potter's doing or whatever. But man, there's some tremendous learning still in that journey, and seeing America and seeing what they do. You can apply those learnings to your own situation.
Your way, yeah. But I wanted to let you know that, there's like my friendship with Garrick he's a brother, and I will treat him as a brother for the rest of my life. I want to say to you that I appreciate, and I refer to you and consider you my friend.
Absolutely.
And having said that, I want to do like two little things, very nothing gifts, but the symbol of our show is the and symbol.
All right,
so
cool.
That little ampersand. This is a special pin that Garrick had designed and made that has the elven leaf embedded in it from
I can see that.
From the Fellowship. So we wanted to give you a pin.
Thank you.
That says the Fellowship of the Nerd, which is our trip across New Zealand. But also, the Rum and Nerdy podcast was born from a group that we started as a group of friends who really like the spirit rum and the nuances. And to us, we treat it like wine. There's all kinds of flavors and distillations, and so it started out as a group of guys that would get together and compare rums and share that. And it was called the Central Florida Rum Council. And then the pandemic happened, and we continued having weekly digital hangouts because you weren't meeting in person. And at one point, one of them went from 7 p.m. to 4 a.m. And in that time...
How many rums did you have in that time?
Enough rum.
Yeah. All of them. But at the end of the night, when we finally signed off, over that period of time, we had people from 4 different continents participate in this digital meeting. And that meeting went on weekly, and then eventually like every other week for 18 months. And it helped us stay together. And from that, a lot of what Rum and Nerdy is as a podcast was born. So I'm not sure if you know what challenge coins are. They kind of originated in the military and have gone to first responders. But this is a challenge coin from the Central Florida Rum Council. And on the back is the Rum and Nerdy podcast. We made 100 of these, and we saved them for our friends And so I'm giving you this one. It's number 62.
Cool.
And
Thank
it is
you.
something that you can keep around and
you very
remember your day you spent with us.
Well, as long as you've enjoyed it, and it's been my pleasure, and it is opportunity to repay you showing me around Harry Potter world and behind the scenes, to be honest, which is where, from my point of view, the real value is, because you see how operations tick rather than just
it's not
the
just
front
the
window.
How did you do it? It's the why did you do it?
Correct.
So, and then that gives you the question you need to ask about your operation, and then how do you solve that problem for your why?
Yeah, correct. And it's not just your place, it's not just my place, it's the combination of all your experiences make up. And that's whenever I can, I do as many experiences as I can, because you don't know what the learning is going to be, or it's going to be a combination of seeing something else and that. Oh, we could do this that way.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit of something of someone and something of something else, and it all makes...
And truthfully, it's that shared knowledge, or the coming together of people to share that level of knowledge. That's what we get out of the TEA. That's one of the big things that,
absolutely,
that we find in that organization.
There's a lot of passionate people up there tonight.
Mm-hmm, absolutely, and the amount of industry talent that we had at that dinner tonight was unparalleled. I mean, you had the world leaders of the themed entertainment industry
and
in that room.
One of the things they said at the conference, at the state conference, I think it was yesterday, Melissa had said that she entered it in and did the little math and the algorithms from where all of the attendees, I want to say there was about 82, 83 attendees, and we're literally from all over the world. And she had calculated that total airline miles for everybody that traveled was, I think she said, approximately 800,000 miles of round trip miles of travel for this group to come to New Zealand. 800,000 airline miles worth of travel. That's insane. So that gives you a kind of a metric of wherever, like the distance of and the diversity of the people that came here. Mm-hmm. So that's really cool.
Yeah. And this was admittedly...
This is the highlight. Oh yeah,
this is the highlight. There were
won the week.
there were so many people that booked this entire event because of today.
Oh well, as long as we did it justice.
Absolutely,
I think more so.
Absolutely.
So before we get too late in the show, I have a couple. I want to, and unless there's other questions that you have,
no, go for it.
I wanted to go a little bit more down the nerdy path. And you were like, oh, we're going to share beer. And I'm like, yeah, because it's rum and nerdy. So we always drink something. And you're like, oh, I'll leave the nerdy to you. So this is where I'm going to go to the nerdy. So, we all consume entertainment. You had said earlier that you've read the books a couple times and seen the movies. And obviously you needed to be familiar with it. But you filmed one of the most successful movie franchises ever right here. So I've got a couple questions. Some of these are about you, and some of them, well, all of them are more about you and who you are outside of running and building and operating this. So when the movie happened, was there anybody that you got to interact with that did you get starstruck by anybody? Like I've always loved this actor, or...
No, I wouldn't. I really appreciated how open he was Sean Austin.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Played Sam. I just thought, when they were filming here, and you go up to where the base camp was and come in the caravan and have a chat, and I found him really open and intriguing and wonderful. Obviously, I've got to meet a lot of wonderful people.
Sure.
So, and that's what I talk about. The biggest thing Hobbiton's given me is some wonderful experiences in life. What have I ever travelled out of New Zealand? Well, now I've been to China 9 times, America, I don't know how many times. How many countries have I travelled to? And seen the Great Wall, seen Statue of Liberty, been up the Empire State Building, been to wonderful shows. We hosted Ed Sheeran here for his birthday in the Mill House.
Yeah.
And had his family and 30 people, his best friends and us. We all had a wonderful night here. So some wonderful, wonderful experiences. And look,
I don't mean that. That sounds awful in the sense of like it's an experience with wonderful people and staff that I've met. It's just created opportunities, to be honest.
Yeah.
And because life's about experiences, and I keep talking about that word experiences.
We say that every day. We like those ideas of go on an adventure, which ties to this. Mm-hmm. Say yes more than you say no. Take some chances. And make sure, I get asked a lot in the mentoring opportunities with young people in our industry, like, what bit of advice would you give? And generally the joke is never ask anybody that question because I don't know enough about you to know what the best advice for you is. But I will say this, when, they say that at the end of your life flashes before your eyes. Make sure that slideshow takes as long as possible.
Yep.
And the best thing about the life I've gotten to live is that I know that if that happens, it's going to take a long time. And I think we all get to experience
Absolutely.
that. So, now, all that said, get a little sappy, but so Sean Austin, Ed Sheeran, I know Stephen Colbert. I don't know him, but I know that you got to interact with him quite a bit because he did an episode of a show from here. Are there any of those great people that you've been able to maintain a long-term friendship with? Like, do you still talk to Sean? Do you still?
No. Look, that was a one-off talk as such. Look, I don't say I have relationships with any celebrities or anything like that. No, I've got to meet a lot of people and get advice and other things, but look, the probably the biggest one is the staff here and how many people have met the Brian Massey of this world, the people that have helped create this, that have been here day in, day out. That's the valuable ones because they're the ones that are in the trenches beside you, if you for want of a better word. And that's where the long-term relationships are and the close relationships are. So there's some wonderful people that I've met through this that have been on the board or that counsel for advice in the industry. But so I think generally it's the Kiwis that I've knocked around with that have helped develop businesses that are where the real relationships are. It's nice meeting overseas and other people, but let's have a beer and have a fun night. But I can't say that I've got long-term relationships that I ring every day or every month or whatever. No.
It was something you mentioned in your speech tonight that really resonated with me, where you had general scripts that people, hey, these are the big talking points you have to hit, but you let the tour guides add their flair. You let them deliver it in their voice, and
Correct.
And I noticed that with our guide Paul, it was brilliant. Just the way he took would take you through.
It wasn't just funny and engaging; it was heartwarming.
Yeah.
So, a follow-up question: you were just saying that the important relationships are the people that have been here shoulder to shoulder with you since. You said you have like 320-ish employees.
Yep.
What percentage of those do you think have been here for the long haul? They've been, if not from the beginning, but early.
Not a massive number, but look, doing stuff and associated with it, be in the hundreds, Not those direct ones, it's the contractors, it's the butchers, it's the list goes on. And you can sometimes not catch up with some of these people for 6 months, but then when you do run into them around the corner, it's as if it was yesterday.
Yeah.
And so, it's funny, relationships, the ones that mean, it doesn't mean they're always ongoing every day. You got to ring that person.
Sure.
I think it's the meaning and the depth that counts. So yeah.
That's fantastic.
What was your next? I know I thought it sounded like you had a handful of rapid fire.
I wouldn't say rapid fire, but it was
Greg's nerd corner.
Yeah, it's. I would say the other thing is, again, like when we were up at the the paddock and there, and you pointed out that house up on the hill. That's the house you grew up on. Correct. And you've got 50,000 acres.
No, we've got 1,250.
That's right, 1,200. So, but this complex is 50 acres. So that was where the 50 came in. So, and they chose it because there is a pond here and everything else, and like because this is where you've been your whole life. That idea of at one point you were a young man, a child that possibly fished in this little pond.
I paddled out there when we were doing weeds and meant to be working on the farm, and my father was yelling at me as a young teenager, "What are you doing out in the middle of the lake?" Because it's a duck shooting pond, and I walking around the lake, and I found the dinghy. Yeah. So I hopped in and go for a paddle, and I meant to be working. So, look at, I know what the question was in that sense, but this is where I grew up, and it's a wonderful place to live, and we're very lucky to live in New Zealand, and we're in a beautiful country and away from a lot of the troubles of the world, and politically safe and actually physically safe down in New Zealand. So whenever I travel, I've enjoyed travelling the countries, in particular America. I love that. But there's never ever no place like home.
Oh yeah,
and it's not a bad place to come home to.
Yeah, and I think it was something else you had mentioned. I mean, everywhere you go on property, you have a 360-degree
That's
view.
within Hobbiton, absolutely.
Yeah. Every set piece you're standing in front of, you can turn around, and it is
everything that the light touches.
You're immersive. You're immersed in it. It's immersive. I should say.
You can't escape it, and not that you want to, but you're there. You're in the moment.
Correct.
Yeah. That's fantastic. So, I think we're good to wrap up. We've taken so much of your day, and we appreciate it. And you've been so generous and welcoming. So thank you. Do you want to your website, or is there any the best way to contact, or would you like to promote your venue there?
No, not really. No, hopefully, if people want to. Come to New Zealand, hopefully they're going to choose to come to Hobbiton and visit and appreciate it and enjoy it. And,
and it's
you don't have to be a real
HobbitonMovieSet.com?
fan or read the books, or you don't have to. Hopefully we're giving a good enough experience that...
Oh, I think every member of the TEA that came for this event is going to go home and evangelize this experience, because everyone has just been blown away by it.
Yeah, and not just the family members who might be tourists. These people are going to go brag to the rest of their friends who are industry people. You won't believe this.
Yeah, and I pulled one of the little flyers from the ticket shop when we came in. Hobbitontours.com.
That's it.
Is the place to reach out for booking information.
And remember, if you want the banquet, plan ahead.
Yep. So
book in advance. That's the one recommendation. It is getting a very popular place, and the most popular place in New Zealand for international tourists.
Yeah, I love these tours.
Rightfully so.
The Hobbiton Movie Set tour, duration 2.5 hours. The second breakfast tour, that sounds like something we should have done earlier.
It's a reason.
You need to allow 4 or 5 hours for that. and again, don't eat the night before.
Yeah, tour and lunch combo. Oh, the evening banquet tour and the new behind the scenes tour.
That's where we went up to. I showed you first year, so that's something we've just introduced last year, where people get a tour of the movie set, but it's nice to be able to take them behind the scenes and understand the craftsmanship and how things get developed and what we've done, and meet some of our staff as such. Some have a clever...
We saw
I recommend that one, behind the scenes
we saw
tour.
the fabrication shop, the design shop, the prop shop. You had those teams working on the little pillows, the Hobbit-sized pillows.
Yeah, the lights and the set
special
scenic
effects.
painters and...
your warehouse with props for maintenance. It's a whole lot. The new greenhouse, and then, of course, there's the sustainability composting yard with all the reclaimed lumber and timbers to use for maintenance.
Yeah, wow. we're gonna have some follow-ups with your sustainability team. So I think there's a lot more to be said there with what you're doing and how you're doing it.
Well, yeah, it's a like all things, it's a long road. And look, what I'm pleased about that is we're on the journey, and we're we're well and truly past the start line. But it's an exciting road, and I think we can learn a lot from. I think leading the world, from my point of view, is the Scandinavian countries, and into that whole circular economy thing. So hopefully we can keep learning from those countries, because everyone's got something to offer.
Yep.
And you just got to find the gems from everyone.
Absolutely. Okay, so we're going to wrap up, which generally means where do we start that? We start with thanking our very good friend Dave Martin.
DemoDavePro.com.
We would invite you to check out our website, rumandnerdy.com. That's rumandnerdy.com.
Social medias, we are also at Rum and Nerdy, also A&D.
And you can email us if you have any questions or comments. If you have any questions for us about this wonderful experience and how to, book and about the travel and the lessons that we learned in this trip, you can email us, show@rumandnerdy.com.
And once again, the Hobbiton Movie Set tours, you can book at hobbitontours.com.
And Russell, again, we cannot thank you enough for your hospitality. You said that you're going to be in the States in October. Hopefully, it sounds like we might be able to wrangle that into a hello and maybe us return a little bit of hospitality back.
Or I look forward to it.
Great.
Outstanding.
Stay nerdy, my friends.
In the middle of the earth, in the land of Shire, lives a brave little hobbit who we all admire. With his long wooden pipe, fuzzy woolly toes, he lives in a hobbit hole and everybody knows him. Bilbo Baggins, he's only 3 feet tall. Bilbo Baggins, bravest little hobbit of them all.
Recently, because I went back and did the final bit on The Hobbit, and they gave me the book that Bilbo writes in. He writes The Hobbit, there in Mac again, A Hobbit's Tale, and then I finish it as Lord of the Rings. They gave me that red volume, which is beautiful.
The actual prop?
Yeah.
Whoa.
And on my last day in Hobbiton, it was pretty magical. I know, it was amazing.
Hobbiton.
But then
Hobbiton.
I know.
This is set.
This is all right. It's a real. So listen, it's a real place. They've actually.
No, it's not.
Graham.
Let him have his dreams. Don't you screw up his dreams. His feet are big too. Let him dream.
So they've actually built it. We built it for Lord of the Rings. We took all of the facades away, and then it's since been a tourist attraction. And now it's been rebuilt for The Hobbit, but with sustainable materials, with real wood, so it'll always be there.
Whoa.
So from now on, you'll actually get to see Hobbiton and visit it as a real place.
And will you be able to
You
stay
can't
there?
stay there, no.
You can't. Oh.
But they are turning the Green Dragon pub
it'll be
into
too big
a visitor
for it,
center.
surely.
Oh, you wonderful people coming in.
Fit in.
Where's my bedroom? This way, sir. Here's the jacuzzi. Just there we go. Let's get it going, Bobby. Hobbiton. That would be wonderful. I'm sure people go, yes, we're going to Hobbiton for Christmas.
I turned 19 when we first went to Hobbiton. And I'm 30 now. I was talking to Pete when we were there on my last day. I said, you realize that I had my 19th birthday in Hobbiton? Yeah. Isn't that wild?
Wow.
Puts things into perspective.
Wow. Not many people can say that. I had my birthday party in Hobbiton. I was circumcised at Disneyland. What happened?
Because no one could have known that it was going to take off and become a real place. Yeah.
Stop it.
It's like a real place.
It's a whole tourist industry based on that.
Good luck getting into New Zealand, asshole.